Many objects that remain unidentified float around the Earth and catch our camera's eye. Then scientists spend all their time studying it. Welcome to this channel. Today we're going to talk about some of the unidentified objects found near Earth. Let's get started. Most people think that the public's interest in interstellar objects in the solar system started with the discovery of Oumuamua, the famous cigar-shaped object that was seen a little bit too late in 2017. Scientists have spent years making guesses about where Oumuamua came from, such as a comet, a meteor, or even a piece of technology from another planet. But because it was found as it was leaving the solar system, it was hard to keep track of and study in detail. So researchers turned their attention to a public database with information about when meteors hit Earth. An extrasolar traveler from another star system caused the explosion that happened in the sky above Papua New Guinea in 2014. A famous astronomer named Avi Loeb and one of his students, Amir Siraj, did research on about 1,000 meteors that hit Earth. One fireball in particular caught their attention because of how it looked. In 2014, the explosion happened over the South Pacific Ocean near Papua New Guinea. It was always hidden in plain sight. We didn't have to go through a lot of trouble to get to this database. It was more that nothing from a different star system hadn't been found until 2017. Because of this, no one had any reason to think that meteors might have come from somewhere other than our solar system. When compared to the average speed of things in the solar system, which is about 160,000 kilometers per hour, its speed of 210,000 kilometers per hour seemed impossible. Researchers thought almost right away that this object might have come from another planetary system within the Milky Way galaxy. They were even able to show with 99% certainty that this was another object from another star system that we didn't know about before. When it was posted to the preprint database Arxiv in 2019, it was supposed to be peer-reviewed, but it wasn't. This was found in a study from 2019 that we looked at. Something else that can't be talked about. Unfortunately, the US government had other ideas, which was the case with a lot of Avi Loeb's work over the years. The research paper that was sent to the Arxiv website did not go through the review and publication process because it had sensitive information in it. Over the past few years, we've written a number of stories about Avi Loeb and the work he's done on the Oumuamua case, and the signs that the scientific community and the government are ignoring his work. On March 1st, experts from the United States Space Command finally agreed with their work and gave it the green light. John E. Shaw, who is the deputy commander and a lieutenant general, said that the 2019 study gave enough information to look into the possibility that the object came from another solar system. The first thing ever to be found in the solar system that came from another solar system. Because of this confirmation, everything we knew before about interstellar objects in the solar system is now wrong. Oumuamua was found in 2017, and until now, it was the oldest object of its kind known to exist. A meteorite exploded in the air over the South Pacific Ocean in 2014. This thing happened 3 years ago. Also, there's no question in our minds that this is a much more important discovery at this time. Why? Because the explosion happened on the surface of the Earth. It's possible that for the first time in human history, we'll find space junk. Amir Siraj said what he thought about the memo from the USSC that proved the discovery. He talked about their plans for the future and said that as a first step, he wants to get the old 2019 study published because it has important information for future research. At this point, scientists only know that the interstellar object exists. However, without the article, they won't be able to look into it in a more sophisticated and focused way. The second goal, which is even more important, is to find out if any pieces of the meteorite can be found. During their conversation, Siraj made the following comment to Vice. The researchers said, "The chance of getting the first piece of material from between the stars is intimidating enough to make more information on this out very carefully, and then talk and show it to all of the world's best experts on who do ocean expeditions and ask them to recover meteorites. The idea of getting stuff from other stars is exciting enough to make it worth checking out. Even if the wreckage ended up in the South Pacific Ocean, you shouldn't let that stop you from taking advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime chance for now." As a final step, but by no means the least important one, the scientific community should work toward building a global sensor network that can look for more interstellar objects. Since this is the first one of its kind that has been confirmed, it's clear that we won't find many more unless we go looking for them. Now, one other unidentified object was also found close to Earth. Let's talk about that. NASA researchers have found a previously unidentified object that is close to Earth and is a piece of humanity's early explorations of space. In September, scientists in Maui used the Pan-STARRS-1 survey telescope, which was made to look for asteroids, to find the object close to Earth. They were curious about the possible nature of the NEO because its size and the strange path it took. The mystery was looked into by observatories all over the world, according to a news release from NASA. But scientists at NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory figured out that the NEO was a Centaur rocket booster from the 1960s that was used on a failed mission to the Moon. Researchers who looked into the object's path found that it had come close to Earth many times over the years. In 1966, it came close to Earth as experts thought it might have come from our planet. Because this object was so faint, it was hard to figure out what it was, says Vishnu Reddy, who is a planetary scientist who works at the University of Arizona's Laboratory for Planetary and Lunar Stuff, who led a team that looked into the NEO. It was hard to explain what it was, Vishnu Reddy said. They used a binocular telescope with a large lens, or let's say LBT, to take color pictures. These pictures showed that it was actually not an asteroid. The people on Reddy's team looked into how the object and 301 stainless steel, which was used to make the Centaur rocket boosters, were alike and how they were different. The researchers thought that the match wasn't quite right because the non-terrestrial object, or NEO, had been hit by a lot of space weather over the past 54 years. On Tuesday, the team compared the materials used in the alleged rocket from 1966 is currently orbiting the Earth. In 1971, this booster was used in a launch. Now, as you know, asteroids are one of the many objects revolving very close to the Earth, so let's talk about the kind of dangers they pose. What kind of damage do NEOs do when they hit the Earth? They can cause damage to the crash site because of the force they have, but how can they cause mass extinctions? First of all, what happens when you slam on the sand? Consider it. I think the sand will bounce back when it hits the air. This is the same thing happening on a much bigger scale, since the asteroid is much more massive than your hand. If the object is big enough, the dust it kicks up will be enough to block out most of the sun. Do you remember how a dust storm made the solar panels on the Opportunity rover stop working, which killed the rover? That must be exactly how the planets are in this place. On top of that, it moves all the way up the food chain, which causes a lot of different species to go extinct. It's important to remember that the effects of a collision are often more dangerous than the collision itself. Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned for more interesting information.